in 1999, when I was 34 years old, I almost died of congestive heart failure. I had my second child, and I was diagnosed with a disease called peripartum cardiomyopathy. Basically what that is, it's congestive heart failure that happens after a pregnancy. And like I said, I wasn't one of those people who's super devout to their faith. I prayed, you know, when I needed something, that kind of thing, you know, pick up the Bible, read a verse here or there once in a blue moon. But I was desperate. And so my mother, of all people, said to me, call your church and see if you can talk to a priest. He came over, he gave me the sacrament of the sick, and a week later, I got a telephone call, not even a week, less than that the doctor had said that basically my heart had returned to its normal state. So to me, it was a miracle. And from that point in my life was changed to what was really important. So the way that I balance my life is when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I thank God for another day of being alive. Because when that priest gave me the sacrament of the sick, I asked him if he could keep me alive maybe 5, 10, 15 years. And now we're going on 22, and I'm still doing very well, thank God. And my health is great too. So the way that I balance my life is God is first. If he's keeping me alive another day, I'm going to be grateful, no matter what happens. And I know he's going to get me through no matter what happens, because I realize that even despite all the challenges that I've had in my life, I do have faith and I do believe. And when I wrote my book, Love and Care for the Marginalized, I realized that my life mission was to make that outreach to people who are isolated and rejected and marginalized. And they need to know, God's going to take care of me. I'm not worried about me anymore. I know he'll take care of me, no matter how long he keeps me alive or how long I live. But my job now is to help other people to know that they're loved. And that's really how I balance my life. I work for the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. My title is the director. It's a 501c3, and the full title of the foundation is the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith, as we were formed through a religious order, through the Mercedarians. We're headquartered in the Philadelphia area, and what we do is we offer pastoral accompaniment for families in crisis, and additionally for families who are affected by divorce and separation. And so what I do as the director is basically navigate and speak to these people and connect them with the friars that I work with and I represent, the Mercedarian order. And many of these people come to us, whether it be a crisis, something to do with a family separation, could be an addiction, and they needing to speak to someone about it, needing to get some pastoral help and some accompaniment. So that's what we do, because the church is a field hospital, and so we offer that pastoral care for them in a time of crisis. Well, what we offer, it's more of the side of not so much counseling like psychology counseling, but spiritual counseling. So they want to come, they're coming to us because they have a question of their faith and need to just speak to someone about what is happening in their lives. As I said, the Mercedarian order, where we have priests and brothers, and specifically our spiritual moderator, who can meet with them for an online call or just a phone call, and we're there for them, offering our prayers, our care, and letting them know that we're really available, because many pastors, churches, people who are involved in ministry, a lot of them are busy. And so we want to make sure that we're there for the people that reach out to us with those prayer intentions and who are going through really challenging times. I myself, back around 2012, 2013, my family was going through a difficult time, and I was looking for a new spiritual director. And I had never heard of the Mercedarian order. In 2009, my daughter, who was at the time 9, almost 10 years old, went through a real crisis. And I was her main support system. And it really brought me to a level, unfortunately, a level of depression, a level of anxiety that, it sounds kind of funny to say this, but I myself felt very marginalized in my own life. Not to say that people didn't care about me. I'm sure they did. But I was in a space that I did not feel like I was getting that support. And even though I was a person of faith, I was at a level of isolation. You know, people can get that way, and that's what happens sometimes when people feel marginalized, is they become isolated from others. They can be around a group of people and feel completely alone. And so through a Catholic directory, I just kind of went through the directory, and I noticed the name and the phone number, and had called and asked if I could speak to a priest. So it's kind of ironic that that's now what we're offering, is that accompaniment for families that are going through challenging times. And I got a spiritual director, one of the Mercedarian friars, and then in turn, I became something called a third order member. It's a prayerful lay member of the order, and started making my own outreach to others through prayer and through outreach. And then they formed the foundation in 2015. Pope Francis had come to the United States, to Philadelphia, for the World Meeting of Families. And the friars decided that they wanted to start a nonprofit in order to help those people who are really, needing some kind of care and prayers, and let them know that we're there for them. The church cares. The church is here for anyone who really needs help, and that's what the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation is about. That's really what being Catholic means. It means not only that we offer the sacraments of our faith, of course, all the 7 sacraments, but part of being Catholic means, that word means universal. And if we really want to live out as Jesus lived, then we need to make outreach to those who are marginalized, those who feel not accepted for who they are. And so another thing that I've done is I've authored a book. It's a separate thing from the foundation. It's called Love and Care for the Marginalized. And this book offers 40 meditations, spiritual outreach for Catholics, to those who feel rejected and not part of community. And every day during these 40 reflections, I offer a quote. And the quotes come from popes, religious leaders, saints. I even put some movie quotes in there. And then I offer a reflection, a call to action, and a prayer. And some people ask, well, what does that mean? When we think of the word marginalized, you think of poor people, homeless, people who just don't have the support. They're people that we know. They're people in our families, people in our extended families. They're people in our neighborhoods, the people that we work with. They're people at church. And they're people that we don't notice. There may be those quiet people sometimes. So maybe for people who are people of faith, you could go to church and walk right by them and not realize that this person doesn't have support. And so writing this book is my way of how God knocked on my own door of my heart and said that now that I've experienced this, I was able to feel what it feels like to feel that isolation. Wanted to offer some reflections to people to help them know that the church does care. And that's part of why I do what I do as the director of the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation. Sometimes when people read a book like this with spiritual meditations, knowing a way that we can take a thought and take an idea, especially something that is important, and bringing it to life. Because you might read a quote and think, well, what does that mean to me? What can I do? How can I make it real? And so when there's a call to action, it's something that you can do easily, something very easily in your life. The ones that I placed in my book, I don't think are real difficult things to do, because my definition of marginalization are really those people that are around us. They're the people, we don't have to go too far to find them. They're people that we see every day, people in our neighborhood, people that are an extended family. Maybe there's an extended family member that you or I haven't talked to in a long time. And the reason that we don't talk to them is because we heard something about them from somebody else. That's another thing that I talk about in my book is gossip. That's something that we come across every single day of our lives, is how we treat people and how we talk about people behind their backs. It's very wrong, and I do think it needs to be brought to the forefront. I think that is the first thing that we need to do as Catholics and as people of faith, is learn to listen. Don't be afraid to let that person have their opinion. I'm not right about everything. I am not right about everything. God is right about everything. I'm not here to convince anybody because the truth is already there. I don't need to do much more than that. I listen, and if they ask me questions about my faith, I share. I try to be friends with all kinds of people. People who are of different religions, don't celebrate their faith, people who don't believe in God, because to me, that's what we need to do as people of faith, is be willing and be open to listen to other people's stories. And I think that's the best way to evangelize, and pray for them. But I don't worry about results when I pray, because I know that God will answer that prayer. I never worry about results. God taught me that when I went through my hard time. Because people who are going through a hard time, they don't want to be told they need to change. They don't want to be told that they need to do anything different, because our lives should shine out what the truth is. And if they want the truth, I would point them to God and to what the church offers. But my job is to love them and listen.